Hey everyone, happy Friday, and guess what? Happy St. Joseph's Day. The Irish have St. Patrick's Day, we have St. Joseph's Day. This is our day, the Italians. So, it's even a bigger deal if you have someone in your family that is named Joseph, because in Italy, these kind of days, these saint days, are kind of name days, and name days are just as important, if not more so, than your birthday. And my grandfather, Giuseppe, Italian for Joseph, that's his name, so St. Joseph's Day was always a really big deal in my family. And one of the things that you make on St. Joseph's Day is Zeppole, and you've probably seen them all over the internet today, and they look generally like this. It's pretty much a giant fried donut. And if you go around Italy, different towns, different provinces make them differently. And a lot of towns add this custard either inside or nestled in the middle of the donut, if you will, if they're made like a cruller almost, with the center empty, and then you can pipe in some custard. But me growing up, and I'm first generation Italian, and my mother is from Naples, a little town in Naples, Mariano is called, and they never did custard. So growing up, I never understood what these were. We just had them fried and simple and light, rolled in sugar, and it was a really fun big deal to get them. My mom only makes them once a year, and sadly we won't be able to enjoy them with her today because of COVID. So I thought, in honor of her and in honor of all Italians and Italian families, and especially in honor of my grandfather, we're going to make Zeppole today, the way that I grew up enjoying them and the way that the people in my mother's town in Naples make them without the custard. The nice thing about what we're going to do today is that they're less heavy. Yes, it's a fried donut, so you're like, yeah, Flora, less heavy. Okay, right. But without the custard, you can say it's a little better for you. Anyway, hey, you know what, guys? It's just once a year, so let's enjoy it. We have to like celebrate the things we can enjoy, right? These days. So anyway. Anyway, join me in the kitchen today. We're going to make Zeppole. And just so you know, the dough needs to rise for 2 hours. So if you're planning on making this tonight, or you can even make them this weekend. In fact, my mother's going to make her batch tomorrow. So technically not St. Joseph's Day, but, you know, Italians kind of stretch celebrations to a few days because, you know, we like celebrating things. So if you make them this weekend, just know you need a 2-hour window to let the dough rise a little bit before you fry them up. Okay, so let's get frying. All right, we have 2 tablespoons of butter softened. We're adding a 1/2 cup of sugar, and we're going to whip it up. To this, we're going to add 2 eggs that have been slightly beaten. I'm also going to add yeast. Now, I've got 2 tablespoons of lukewarm water and a packet of yeast, which is roughly about 2 1/4 teaspoons of dry yeast. And you wait for it to proof and puff up like so. We're adding that to the mixture as well. I have 1 1/2 cups of milk that I've scalded on the stove and then cooled down. You don't want to put this in scalding hot to your eggs. You'll curdle your eggs. So this is cooled down. Add this to your eggs and mix it. I've sifted 3 cups of flour, and with the sifting I added a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to switch the mixer from a whisk to a paddle, and we're going to whisk in this, not whisk in, but paddle in this flour. It's going to be a very loose dough. So you can see this is a really wet dough. And I only paddled it for like a couple minutes. You don't want to overwork the gluten. You just want to combine it and make it smooth. So that's your dough, and I'm going to cover it with a lint-free cotton towel. I'm going to let it sit in a warm, dark corner for 1 to 2 hours. You want this dough to double in size. So it might take 1, it might take 2. Decided to give this 2 hours. Let's see what we have. Oh, very nice. You can see it's moving because it's still a very wet dough. But great. Okay, I'm going to heat up my oil. The rest of this goes fast and easy. All right, so I have a pan here. If you have a deep fryer, you could try a deep fryer too. I'm just doing it the way my mom's always made it. So she always has a really deep, she has a special pan that she uses for frying. And she does a blend of oil. There's an oil that she gets from Marconi, I think, and it's a blend of corn and vegetable and canola. So I did a blend here of like half vegetable, half canola. And you can, it's up to you what kind of oil you want to use. Just don't use olive, it's too heavy. And I've had this heating up for about 5 to 7 minutes on number 5. So that's kind of a medium high, middle skewed high. The key here is when you start dropping these in, they're going to brown up quickly. You have to make sure that the centers are cooked. Nearby, I have a baking sheet with paper towels where I'm going to be pulling them out and draining them on there. And I have a tablespoon. And my first one I'm going to plop in here, and I don't know if the oil's hot enough, and I'm not gonna know if it's cooked in the middle. So this first one's kind of a test. You drop it in. And it's a couple minutes on each side. So it was brown on one side. It was about 2 minutes, and I just flipped it over. All right, it's been 2 minutes on both sides. They're nice and brown on both. I'm going to drain it on a paper towel, and I'm going to cut it in the middle to see that the middle has been cooked. If it has, we know that we're at a good heat level, and we can really get going on these. All right, let's take a look. See how it's raw in the middle? This is what my mother warned me about. So we're gonna lower the temp a little bit and go a little slower. Now how we finish these off at our house is you just roll them. You can roll them in powdered sugar. We do granulated sugar. That's it. Place them on a really pretty plate and serve them up. This is a lot of fried carbs, but oh my God, they are so delicious. Now, they're perfect. My mother would be very proud of me. Note, keep the drops to a tablespoonful of dough when you're dropping them in. The bigger they are, especially if you're using a pan, right? The bigger they are, some of these on the bottom got really big, and that center is really hard to cook, unless you're using a deep fryer. If you're using a deep fryer, the bigger ones can cook easier. But if you're using a frying pan, you know, you've got that oil only so deep, so you've got to kind of keep turning those big ones around and making sure that center is cooked. I found that if I kept that dough to a decent size, a tablespoonful-ish, like, you know, that tablespoon that I have in my kitchen, not a measuring spoon per se, like a tablespoon. This guy, right? So just this kind of rounded out, keep it like that, okay? And your size is gonna be good. And they're nice and warm, they're best warm. And if you have them the next day, I would recommend that you put them in a toaster oven and kind of revive them that way, versus nuking them. Nuking them, you can nuke them, but they're not gonna be as good as putting them like in a convection oven or a toaster oven to revive them a little bit the next day. Anyway, happy St. Joseph's Day, everybody. It is what the Italians think of as Father's Day. So let's all thank our fathers out there who take care of their families. And where would we be without them, right? Anyway, if you want to keep up on all the fun, please subscribe below on that button. It really helps us out. And you can stay up on all the fun that we do here between the kitchen and the garden and crafting and all the things. And one last note, the Great Grow Along is happening right now, and you still can get tickets. And don't worry if you've missed some of the sessions with the Great Grow Along, because you can have access to all the sessions for 6 months. That's what your ticket gets you. So you can have access to this amazing garden festival and 40+ speaker sessions on everything from houseplants to edible gardening to the track that I'm in, which is all about pollinators. And you can have access to all that stuff for well into the growing season, well until August. So super, super cool. You can still get tickets. Don't worry. I would love to see you there. Really great stuff. Anyway, stay safe. Hope you get your vaccines. I'm still waiting on mine. Anyway, happy St. Joseph's Day. Bye.